You're watching Cable 2.
Hello everyone and welcome to Today with Dr. Beverly Emory. I'm Chris Runge. Thanks so much for joining us for the first Today program of the year 2017. Believe it or not, lots to get to in this half hour, including how to safely evacuate a school bus in the event of an emergency. It's very rare, but it is important to know, and we're going to talk more about it coming up in just a little bit. But first of all, Dr. Emory's here. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, 2017.
Can you believe it?
Yes.
It's kind of
scary.
Yes, it is. Good holidays?
Yes, how about you?
Very nice, very nice.
Very relaxing.
Yes, not so much anymore. It's back to work, huh? But it's always good to start off with good news, and we've got some good news to start off this program, to start off the year. 3 of our schools, Ashley, Kimberly Park, and Carver, have received really a pretty sizable grant. Tell us about that and how they're going to use the money. It's over 5 years.
Right.
Okay.
And it is a lot of money. We call them SIG grants. They're federally funded and target schools that have greater challenges. But it's not a given. We actually applied for 7 of these and we only got 3, so it is competitive. But there are more prescriptive guidelines for these grants now. When they first started, you could sort of build your own ship, but now they give you a list of research-based program guidelines, and so our schools had to decide which of those might be the best fit for them. But all of that supports transformation, teacher training, coaching in classrooms, really trying to work on some of those specific curriculum challenges that our kids may have. So no question this will be additional supports needed in those schools for sure.
And sometimes when we hear about these grants, we hear that, you know, the staff has to be completely changed and new principal, but that's not the case with these.
No, they have to pick a model, but we had already done that through the priority schools process, so they remain transformation schools, and but no. So what we went through last year with having to look at, okay, are there going to be places where we have to do these kinds of changes?
Right.
The grant does not require that.
That's great. Just for all you Dr. Baker fans out there, I had a lot of phone calls when it hit the paper, but she's
I gotcha.
doing amazing things, and she's going to continue to do them there. More good news and a little bit of trivia for you. Back in the 1970s, I went to Moore Laboratory School. It's Moore Elementary School now. We were the only laboratory school in the area. We were first year-round school, and it was great. It was experimental. Didn't last forever. It's no longer that. But now we've got word that the UNC system is going to set up laboratory schools across the state, and one of them will be here in Forsyth County.
Yes, and that's legislatively driven. I think the legislature believed that notion of lab school, which is, can we unite academia and on-the-ground educators in a way that helps us create better outcomes. And so this legislation specifically ties the lab schools to districts that have more than 25% of their schools low performing. And so geographically, people will say, well, you're closer to other universities, but the way these things kind of fell out in terms of colleges of ed, we have been really fortunate to be linked up with Appalachian State University, and we had already started 2 programs with them to really look at literacy. They have some national literacy experts at App, and so we're certainly at the beginning stages of this, but we're in some places across the state, it's, well, there's this law that's making us do this. That has not been the approach here. It's been very collaborative. How can we use this to give teachers additional opportunities to help kids, and to sort of do it in a clinic-based environment, which is what that lab school is really all about.
It was a great time. It really was. Now this is going to sound scary, but we didn't have classrooms. We had suites They knocked out the walls. 110 students in each suite, but we had 5 teachers too. And very experimental, no desks, out on the floor, lots of fun. It was neat. So it'll be something to follow up as we.
Well, and I think it's noble that we need to also operate these schools with that kind of flexibility, and I think that comes with this legislation, that there will be some freedom to test strategy and not have to do the traditional kinds of things, so we can see, are there options that work better for our kids.
Great. Board of Education meeting last Tuesday. It was kind of like Flashback Tuesday. We welcome back an old member. Marilyn Parker is with us once again. Explain to us how that came about. She didn't run for election.
Right. So our previous board member, Mark Johnson, was elected to the state superintendent's position in November and took over officially beginning of January, and that created a vacancy on the board, and the board has guidelines for how they fill those vacancies, and they have options, and I think they felt like it would, with all the work going on with the bond issue and a need to sort of get somebody in there that could hit the ground running, that instead of going through some extensive application process, they would look at possible past board members who might want to return. And of course, we just are so excited that Marilyn, who did not run for re-election, and I don't think she wants to run, so I think she's really in it for the work, and just what an asset to an already hard-working group of board members. So. And you know, they all were excited that she would even want to come back. So
Yeah.
I think it's good for her to see how much they wanted her to come back. And of course, she's already done school visits and committee meetings. And you know, Marilyn, she's going to be right in there.
She is. She's fantastic.
In the middle of it. So we're excited she's back.
Good deal. Well, one thing she had to deal with right off the bat, snow. And we had like Ohio type snow. Now that was a lot of snow. That one was probably an easy call. That. No school.
At the front end.
Yeah.
At the front end.
Got a little harder as you go toward Wednesday, and you know there were some complaints on Twitter and Facebook. But talk to us about it. It's not an easy decision, and Forsyth County can have very different weather in the north, very different weather in the south, and we have lots of rural roads, don't we?
Absolutely. Well, and I would want parents and families and community members to know nobody wants to go to school more than we do. I mean, I'm the worst, and I think that the staff would tell you that generally they're trying to talk me, because I'm always thinking, we could do this delay, can we do this? Just because I understand the concern. That's one factor. You mentioned, I don't know if people realize that, you know, our people ride all of these roads. So we're not just relying on DOT or the weather folks from your favorite news channel. And actually on Tuesday, our drivers drove our routes, and they turned in routes that even though it warmed up on Tuesday, you still couldn't get on a road that hadn't been plowed. I know DOT worked really hard to try to get to those back roads, but if you drove around on Wednesday, even with the warm temperatures, you could see those places that. So my biggest takeaway for folks would be, you know, we have probably 5,000 student drivers. Buses can get places that people can't, but if buses can't get in places, we can't go to school. And I hated losing Wednesday. I thought Monday and Tuesday were fairly easy calls, Monday in particular. Wednesday was tough, and you're right, about that time people start to really question it. But there is a science that goes into all of this, and there's also a behind-the-scenes crew that I have to say, I don't know that people realize. From Friday evening, from the time those flakes fall until the last parking lot, sidewalk, until it's melted, these people work nonstop. They scrape, they work 24/7, they ride roads, and they're all about making sure we make the safest call. And people may not believe it's the best call, that's okay. We want to make the safest call.
Yeah, and 80 campuses, administrative buildings, warehouses. I mean,
right.
That's
we can't risk
a lot
falls,
of real estate.
And we have students who have disabilities that have certain access. It's a big undertaking to be able to say yes or no.
It really is.
So.
And this is a tricky area for weather anyway. And ice, it's just a very
I think
different
our
thing.
folks, though, have gotten, I mean, the brining that went on ahead of time helped, and I think part of that, dissonance was if you went out even on Saturday on main roads, you could get around, but on your road you might live on, you took a risk getting in and out of your own driveway, But I think they've worked really hard on those main thoroughfares with prepping and brining ahead of time. But in a county this size, we don't really have the manpower to get to every secondary road within a 24, even a 48-hour period.
And that really was quite a bit of snow, as I said. It was.
Well, in some places it's still there.
Gosh, I know.
The piled up lot. Well, maybe not
The black
after the
snow
70-degree weather, but it was
Yeah,
there
well,
for a good while.
Yes, we'll hang on to this. Final question. When we last talked, things were still sort of up in the air in Raleigh. Results have now been certified. We have a new governor, Roy Cooper. There are a lot of changes in Raleigh. Care to talk about that and how it might affect us locally, good, bad?
Well, I hope folks in Raleigh will all find a way to work together. I know that's really the way the system's designed as a democracy. And I think that our new governor certainly ran and campaigned and has a history of being a big supporter of education. I also think our new state superintendent has emotional ties to us.
Let's hope.
And I have already, in a very short period of time, found him very accessible.
Good.
So I do think that he will look back and say, hey, how does this affect? Because we can give him tangible impact of some of those decisions. So I'm staying very optimistic about the changes in Raleigh, and I also think folks could model for us what not agreeing looks like. We can always disagree. Can we do that in a way that at the end we're focused on the people we serve and what's best for them? And I hope that will be what we see.
Good, very good. Well, I hope you have a wonderful month of February.
Oh, it's scary.
I know, but just no snow. We're going to work on no snow for
that's
February.
right.
All right. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. And we are back after this with a look at proper evacuations of a school bus that's in trouble. That's after this.
Nice going, Spencer! I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
We?
Go to the door, ask for the ball back. Are you serious?
It's my ball, Myrtleback.
You soldiers. I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go. See ya. You never mean you're well.
Nice one. Some friends you are.
Keep smiling, keep shining.
Hi. Tell him it was an accident, and we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Come on, man.
Just do it quick. No one's watching. You have to if you want to hang with us.
The other one, too.
Good job.
Do the right thing. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike one. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike too. I'm the greatest hitter in the world! Strike three. Wow. I'm the greatest pitcher in the world.
Optimism. Pass it on. A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
It is rare, but as you have seen in the news, occasionally buses end up in dangerous or less than ideal conditions, like an accident or perhaps a fire. Again, it is very rare, but when it does happen, students need to know how to evacuate the bus safely. It's very different from just getting off the bus at a bus stop. Cable 2 has worked with the Department of Education, the North Carolina DPI, for many videos in the past, and most recently we've put together one about safe bus evacuations, and we're going to take a look at a preview right now.
Every day, more than 13,000 school buses operate on routes throughout North Carolina, carrying almost 800,000 students. Following safety guidelines, practicing bus evacuations, and obeying your bus driver can help make your trip a safe, uneventful one. But on rare occasions, it may be necessary to evacuate your bus due to an emergency. While these occurrences are extremely rare, it is always best to be prepared. For the next few minutes, we'll show you when you may need to evacuate and how to do it safely and properly. We'll look at the many emergency exits and where they're located on North Carolina buses, and we'll show you what to do after you evacuate. Again, you will probably never need to do this, but paying attention for the next few minutes will help you exit the bus quickly, safely, and orderly in the event of an emergency. It could also save your life. Let's begin with when you should evacuate your school bus. Smoke or fire. The bus ends up in deep water. The bus is disabled and could be struck by a vehicle the same size or larger. Extreme weather, such as a tornado. Or the bus is stuck on a railroad crossing. If none of these conditions apply, it may actually be safer for you to stay on the bus. Remember that your bus driver is in charge and is the only person who can declare an emergency and tell you to evacuate. In the unlikely event your driver has been hurt, you should calmly follow these procedures and call for help once you are clear of the bus. First, when you are riding the bus, remain in your seats and keep the aisle open and clear. Second, always be aware of where the exits are located. Your North Carolina school bus is equipped with several exits. It is always important to determine which exit method is best depending on the type of emergency. The front entry door is the most common place to exit. There are emergency side windows, the rear emergency door, roof escape hatches, and a lift if equipped. In the event of an emergency, establish which exit will be best to use. Again, the most common door for exiting will always be the front, but sometimes the front door may be blocked. The second most common exit is the rear emergency door. Note, in a few buses, the rear emergency door might be on the side of the bus. If your driver directs you to the back of the bus, leave all of your personal items such as backpacks or purses on your seat. Do not take them with you when you leave the bus. Calmly move to the back of the bus and open the emergency door.
And that was just a small part of the video that will be required viewing for all public school students in North Carolina, and we should have that complete in February, and students will begin watching it. Speaking of February, we hope you'll stay tuned to Cable 2. Academic competitions continue throughout the month of February. They can be seen live on Wednesday afternoons at 4:30 right here. And on February 10th, the annual Spelling Bee begins at 10 o'clock live here on Cable 2, so you'll want to be sure to tune in for that as well. That's going to do it for this edition of Today with Dr. Beverly Emory. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Chris Runge. Have a great rest of
Thank you for joining us on your school channel, Cable 2.